so today we have a lot going on with this Ranger. Now, if you guys have been following the channel, you know we started this project just about 4 years ago. That's what it looked like. That's where we're at. If you have been following along, you know this project has taken a very long time. It has been done in increments. We're going on year number 5 building this thing. We have a lot going on today. By the end of this video, this thing will be running. Not 100%, but we will start it. We will make it run. We need to build intercooler piping. And today it'll be just kind of a temporary setup as we're waiting for our TIG welder to show up. This little bracket here is from Fire Punk Diesel. So this is for a 3rd gen. The 5.9 block is the same. The blocks are the same, the heads are different, so that ended up working. But we couldn't use our 2nd gen alternator, so we had to get this single wire. This is from PA Performance. It's a single wire. So cool thing about that, you literally hook up your charge wire and you just have to give it a ignition signal. Everything else is controlled inside. We kind of have a belt figured out. We have to build a top mount little bracket to support from here to there. Our front 4 links. We've had a lot of people mention, hey, that lower link is going to interfere with the drive shaft. I kind of seen that when we put it in, but I built it this way just because we had a lot of other things to put in still. The lower links we're going to change. So we're running a dual triangulated 4-link. The back is identical to the front at this point for the links and separation angles and all that. We are overcompensating on our triangulation. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to straighten the lower links out. We're going to try and maintain a little bit of triangulation, but we need to get it moved over because right now our drive shaft is going to be really hard to put in. We also have our hydro steer kit and we have knuckles to put on. So the front axle will be coming out, finishing out our 4-link tabs, building gussets, bracing. Plus we got new rotors, brake pads. So if you haven't noticed already, this is going to be a very long video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I want to get everything done. Grab some popcorn, grab a snack, because you'll be here for a while. We also have our air-to-water intercooler. So this is a 3-inch. We have to mount this, which I want to say it's going to end up somewhere in the center here. And then we'll have piping. You'll see once we get that figured out. I was kind of playing around with it yesterday. Came up with a bunch of good spots to put it. Okay, so we got our lower links redone. As you can see, we kind of moved them outward from the inside. Now we come to this part. We're having a little bit of interference here with the fronts. When I originally designed these, we didn't have the Cummins in here. We had a big block Ford, which was going to sit further back. Well, now our links kind of have a little interference with the oil pan. There's something cool that I will show you guys on the laptop here. When you're building a dual triangulated 4-link, they tell you should have a minimum of 40 degrees of link angle separation. I'm not gonna lie, when I designed this was 4.5 years ago. I understand suspension's a whole lot better. We'll come around here to the back. We'll show you guys exactly. Let me shut the welder off, that thing's noisy. To help kind of explain our conundrum, I made the backs and the fronts identical. Now on the back, this will work out perfect. But what we have going on is we're 8 inches from center to center here. We're 40 inches from center and center on the frame where we mount our 4 links. and vice versa. So we almost have 40 degrees just in this link itself. So when you talk that, think center line of the truck, and now we're 20 degrees this way, and that's what this link is. So it's your angle right here at the pivot. So it's 20 degrees this way, 20 degrees that way. So that's a 40 degree top link separation. When you combine them, you add your top and your bottom, and because they're inverted, they work against each other. So on the back here, we have 80 degrees of link angle separation. Minimum is 40. So we have double what we need, which is good. So with having 80 degrees of a link angle separation on the back, that's perfect. There's not going to be anything wrong with that. It's actually a little overkill, but it works really well in this setup. We had the front identical to the back. Now we have our bottom link spread. So we have about a 10 degree angle on each lower link. So right now we have 20 degrees and 40. So we're sitting at about 60, which would be really, really good, but we have a clearance issue. So what I'm going to have to do, which I had to do on the lowers anyways, we're going to move these out, and then we're going to have to shorten our links again. But what I want to do is, if I can get this link to sit outside the oil pan, then we'll have a whole lot more up travel. Because right now, we have about 4 inches that we can't use of compression on what our shock's going to be. And they're getting built right now. So this is why I'm trying to get the suspension figured out. But what we're going to do, we're going to set the suspension down, which it's pretty good. Like, we have lots of travel. We're going to have over 2 feet of travel at the wheels, which is absolutely insane. And that's on the fronts. The backs are going to be even more, just the way everything's going to be set up. This is kind of why you're supposed to have everything in place when you build something. We started with a bare chassis. We put an engine in. Because remember, we had a big block 429 Ford in this. And then I was like, screw it. I want to roll coal. Let's do a Cummins. Kind of doing it half-assed backwards, but we're going to get there. And really cutting and welding a few tabs, not a big deal. Check that out. So if you remember what it looked like before, you know we had not that much clearance. Originally, when we had these 4-link brackets in the center, they hit the oil pan. Now we have the brackets that are able to actually tuck all the way up to the frame. Now they look like they're going to hit, but they pretty much bottom out there. So we're going to have bump stops in here to control the amount of up travel. We'll probably run it about 1 inch lower than what it's at now. This is just, I'm seeing what the absolute maximum is. It's pretty good. Like, that's severely up. And if you kind of go for reference, that makes the bottom link parallel with the subframe, which is absolutely wild. That much travel on a buggy like this, crazy. I'm sure there's rock bouncers that have more, and I know there's crawlers that have a lot more travel than this, but for a heavy buggy with a Cummins, this is going to be pretty good. And 46 is like, this is a big combo, big setup, heavy. Front end, I am super happy with. I have to cut this bracket off here and just clock it enough because we have some interference going on. Everything else in the other side seems to be good. So, really happy with how this turned out. And I know people have been bugging me because they're like, hey, your front drive shaft's not going to work. And I was like, I'll make it work. But in all honesty, I kind of knew we had an issue, but I needed to get the axles under. And that was long before I had an engine. So I was more concerned about just getting it up. And that's why I never finished out the 4-links. As of like build, supports and gussets and all that for the tabs, they just got basically welded on and left. Just so we had a set of axles under this thing. So let's check that out. Drive shaft's actually gonna have a shit ton of clearance, and we're actually gonna get, TMR Customs has a like shorty, so it'll come off our T-case and there'll be like an intermittent shaft here, and then we'll have the main drive shaft go from pretty much where the 4-link starts down to the axle, which should end up pretty good. The only thing is we have a lot of angle change, so we might actually be able to rake this axle forward a little bit. We'll see what we do there. Another thing I'm not sure, does caster angle matter as much with hydro steer? Because you have a full hydraulic steering setup. Let me know in the comments below if you've dealt with hydro steers, because I'm curious if I can kill some of the caster we have and get that pinion angle pointed up more towards the T-case. Kind of help us on driveline angle at the front. But in all honesty, I think we should be okay with this thing. Like I said, I've never built something like this before, so we're winging it. Alright fellas, we have got a shit done here. Where we're at, right now we have the hydraulic ram mount tacked into place. This is kind of just a fit. We marked center on the ram. We have center marked out on the axle. So we're pretty much there. Yes, it sits off. I don't like it, but when you have the differential, it sits somewhat offset, so this has to sit out. This is the way TMR does their mounts. It's worked so far. A bunch of modifications to get it to be to where it's at. And then of course this PSC steer kit is for a Dana 60 this year kind of thing. So our links and everything already worked out. This is a test fit. I want to center everything. I want to get the knuckles centered, kind of set our steering. That way we can go ahead, tack. We're going to tack these for now. We're going to figure out where the hydro steer is going to sit. All we're trying to do right now is move it in and out, because we got to make it even left and right, or forward and back actually. And the axle's laid ahead a little bit at this point, so don't worry about that. These TMR Customs high steer knuckles, I didn't know this when I built them. It's kind of different because originally your knuckle will be there, your steering point will be here. This actually moved them inwards, so it's kind of giving us a little bit more steering angle. They do have this extra hole. This here is for a cross link to go from there over to that side. Now with the hydro steer, you don't need that. So that's why we're gonna use the inside ones. We'll probably end up chopping these off, make them shorter, because there's no reason to have these. Well fellas, after 4 days redoing the front four links and completely overhauling this axle, here we are. So we have our Dana 60 PSC full hydro kit, dual end ram. Now this is the whole kit as it is with the TMR Customs front mount, because it's universal and because center is here, not there. You can only run one bracket to the left hand side, the driver's side. Should be plenty strong. I know lots of people that only run 2 clamps. We have an extra, so we'll be alright. Now the links, Tig's super excited. See him in the background running around. These links might have to be shortened. These are the lengths they were in the kit. So I just left them. They're fully collapsed front, or like on both sides. I think that'll give us a little bit of toe in. Of course, we'll be setting that 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch toe in on this rig. That should put us where we need. Now if I need to, I'll shorten the links. But honestly, if we can get the toe in that we want, and I don't have to shorten them, I'm not going to. What, buddy? I know you're happy. Tig's super excited about this. We got some fresh rotors, fresh brake pads. Went through, rebuilt the calipers. We also went ahead, we replaced the front U-joints. The one in the start of the video, probably saw me trying to move that one. It was absolutely seized. I wasn't sure if it was the ball joints or the U-joint, but it was the U-joints. Now we have perfect steering, it spins good. Got our mounts done. Now, I know some people don't like the look of having a fillet on the outside. Honestly, this is the strongest way to build these. Say you had them just run from this to this and then you had a corner weld. That corner weld is not quite as strong because you only have one fillet and then you have a cap. So having 2 fillets, much stronger. And we're not going for pretty on this, we're going for beef. And then instead of running a piece on the outside, I decided to put this angled piece on the inside, give it some boxed in support, but then give our heim joint the most amount of room to pivot. I did the same up here on the top. I didn't want to leave something so I had something to hit. This gives the most amount of travel. And boy, does this axle move a lot. This is gonna be a long video. I don't know where we're at for time. I know we've been doing lots of time lapse. This stuff takes so god darn long. I know in the video it doesn't seem that long. This is day number 4 and I've been putting like 14-hour days in the shop trying to get this thing done. It's a lot of fab. Some of the parts, yeah, they bolt on. Some are weld on. There's a lot of custom fab on this, so it takes time. And just going through doing it right. We're at the point where we're putting this thing together and we're gonna be driving it. So I'm not gonna just rush through it. I don't know how other people on other channels make shit go so quick and it seems like it's only a few hour job. This ain't a few hour job. This whole buggy, she ain't a few hour job. People wonder why it took 4.5 fucking years for this thing to get to this point. I only got so many days off, I tell you. Super, super happy. Let's get this under the truck, get the tires on, and then let's do the rear. What do you think, Tiggy? Yes, sir. got our rear axle complete. Just got a fresh paint job. Now yes, we're not powder coating anything. Let's face it, this thing's an off-road truck and I'd rather a $20 can of paint so I can touch it up because it's going to get beat to shit than spending thousands of dollars on powder coat and then still painting over top. But we got brand new rotors. This side got a kind of refresh caliper. These rotors I've had sitting on the shelf for like 3.5 years. So our mounts, we did the exact same as what we did on the fronts on these. They're nice and strong, 3/16. This thing is glossy as hell just because that paint. Now, this top part, I'm pretty happy with how this thing turned out. We did our inside gussets, same kind of thing. Plus we did the big piece, which that should make this really, really strong. Single piece on the back. I think it turned out pretty decent. I wasn't too sure to do what in the center there. So I did that little horseshoe looking thing. It looks alright. I'm not crazy about it, but who cares? Yeah, this side, same kind of thing. Good thing I looked, there was a bunch of missed welds on the truss, so I finished up that. And then of course this side, same thing. This got a new caliper, another brand new rotor. Funny thing, so that caliper we had a seized slide pin, so that's that poor bastard. She got broke. Luckily we had the second bracket, just the caliper itself was missing on this side, so we got lucky. We had another bracket, so we were able to use that. They are identical left to right, just the caliper is different just because of the bleed nipples. So this thing's ready to go. I'm gonna get the crane over here, we're gonna lift it up, we're gonna put tires on, I'm gonna put the hind bag in, and then yeah, let's center this sucker under the truck. we've done a ton since the last time I talked. We have intercooler piping all said and done. So we ended up having these boots. I didn't know we did. So that made this intercooler pipe come out really, really nice. Of course, we got our air to water intercooler. Now this side, this is temporary for now. We're gonna shorten this piece up and then kind of orientate a little better. Right now, hits the frame there. So this is temporary. This will be a solid piece, and then we'll just have a clamp, which is really good. Only 4 clamps to the whole system. Super short, which means boost gets from there into that turbo real quick. Or from the turbo to the intake. Jesus, I'm excited right now. Other thing, we got our intake pipe done. So this is the factory intake horn off a 2001 Dodge 3500. And then I had some 5-inch exhaust pipe, intake pipe left. So I had to make it because this is like 4.5, give or take. So we swedged that down. So it's got a little bit of a velocity piece there, you could call it. Oh my God, we're in manual focus. There you guys go. So yeah, and then we got our clamp there. So this pipe's super solid. We will end up bracing it though, once we get shocks and everything in. Then coming into the buggy, you see we have an air filter. Yes, we have the air filter under the dash. This is super tight. We'll build a piece that holds it. We just haven't got there. This is a cat, of course, air filter that I found. It was the right size. I just want to pull it out here. As you can see, super hard to get out, which is good. Now, looking in here, that little piece there, that's actually a liner from a 8-liter Cummins. Now, back when I was working for a logging company, we had a bunch of these that I did rebuilds on. So I have probably like 10 liners. And it just so happened that that liner slides onto this filter, or the filter slides on really tight, which will work great because that'll seal our filter right here, and then of course once it crushes it'll seal there as well. So super good, and then super easy to get it up, and you just kind of got to wiggle it and push. Another thing is we should have good clean air under here. We might end up doing some kind of an intake pipe. But once we have a window and we have a windshield, even without a window, well, other than tire spray coming back, so probably have a window, but we have good clean air, and it'll help give us some fresh air in the cab. When it's hot, it'll help. We don't have a heater, or we will have a heater. It'll just be like a cheap heater core with a couple fans. Not great, but enough to defrost the windows. And yeah, so super happy. We're gonna end this video here. We got a lot done, and I think you guys will really enjoy that. But yeah, just wait around for the next video. I can't tell you when it's gonna happen, but we're full force on this thing right now. So thanks for watching.